Joining me now is Sheri Nixon from Keller Realty. Thank you for being back with me, Sheri.
Thank you for having me.
It's always good to see you. So I know you've been really busy recently. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing.
Well, this time of year, you know, the spring going into summer, I think you see a lot of people that are here on vacation, so then they decide, oh, how about a vacation rental property?
Right.
So I think this time of year you spend a lot of times with your buyers looking at rental properties.
And we touched on it a little bit last time when you were here, specifically people that are from out of town. You said they need to narrow it down to at least two because they could lose one of them.
Exactly.
So what other things do you need to know from your buyer in order to help them make the decision to go forward with a short-term rental?
Well, one of the things I need, it's more what I need to tell them.
Okay.
You need a realtor that's gonna, if they want a short-term rental, to make sure they're not showing them in a place that doesn't do short-term rentals.
Right.
And as we know, that changes all the time.
Sure.
So you need someone who's up on it. Hilton Head Plantation just changed their rules, and they're not gonna allow that. And then Moss Creek a couple years ago went from weekly rentals to monthly. So you need someone who knows which places you can rent in, and two, which complexes. I know you don't want to love Greenwood Gardens or something in Sea Pines, make an offer and then find out, oh, I can't short-term rent it, or two, like I can't have my dog. Those type things you need to know about that if you're going to rent.
Right, and we do have an awful lot of rules around here.
We have a lot of rules in the communities and all of that, especially animals. That's a big one that people don't realize which complexes allow that.
Yeah. And so also though, from the seller's point of view, if somebody's looking to put their house on the market that is an investment property, what do they need to do to make it as attractive as possible to that buyer?
So they need to make sure, as any listing, that you need to make sure it's decluttered. Although it really matters for a rental property because they're really going to be using it as an investment, and so you need to make sure that you have talked to a rental company to find out what sort of numbers this house can pull, and then two, get your expenses together. Then the rental company could do a pro forma. That's going to be important because you want those numbers to try to attract someone, the buyer, to your house versus another house. Then it makes it even more important that you have the good pictures, because a lot of times in the summer you can only get in on a Saturday turn.
Right.
So I've had a lot of sales recently where the people haven't even gotten in there. So I really like to do the Matterport photography. That way they can do the walkthrough, and that buyer, if they're not here, you want them to have a good feel for the house because you don't want them to put it under contract and then if it's a contingency in 5 days, have them think they know what it was and it's not and fall apart.
Right, so what you're saying though is you've had people recently just buying right off the pictures.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Now, usually they have a contingency that says we want to come down within that inspection period, whether it be 5 days, 8 days, and we want to inspect it ourselves. So that's why you want to make sure they really know what they're buying so they're not disappointed and then get out. So yes.
Yeah, and are you finding that most sellers, when they're selling a short-term rental, are selling it furnished, or so
yes,
it's kind of an
they are
as-is?
selling it furnished usually, and people need to realize that if I tell my sellers, everything's going unless you put it in an exclusion list. So those exclusion lists could say, the angel that sits up on the shelf of this, it needs to say that, or they're going to expect to get everything.
Right.
And that can be, I've had things fall apart for a chip and dip bowl. I mean, you know, it's true.
Yeah, well, I can imagine, I can imagine. So once somebody does buy, they're going to need to have somebody manage it. What is your recommendation for a management company and how they go about doing that?
Okay. So there's lots of options. People can do vacation rental by owner, do it themselves. They need to realize how much time do they have to put into this, because they think, oh, I'm going to save that 20%, and then they're not calculating it's going to be 8 hours a week and all that, and how much is my time worth. So they need to see how much hand-holding they need, and there's going to be companies that are going to be all services, from the do it yourself to someone maybe takes 30% and does everything. Concierge, luxury property, that sort of thing. So you want to think through, too, are you going to use it yourself? And I like people that buy that rental that they're going to use. And you want to make sure the rental company says, oh, you can have 2 weeks in the summer.
Yeah.
You don't want a company that says, oh, you can't use it yourself, or your friends can't use it. So there's a lot of things to look for like that. And to make sure that they have online reviews and that they're good about getting online reviews. And that's important because you want it to look the best it can online.
Yeah. We are out of time, but it's always great to see you, and it's always such great information, so I can't wait till next time.
All right,
Thanks for being with us.